Hello everybody. Once upon a time, in a world possibly near you. I'm gonna mention this up first because I don't remember what happened, but I think North Korea had a test also uh, before all this happened. I don't know if they might have had anything to do with it. I forget what it was, but they tested something. Whatever that was, could have also been in the water. But alright, anyways. In 1998, there was a corona particle assembly. In 2002, an epidemic of severe acute respiratory oops. In November of 2002, an epidemic of severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS began in Foshan municipality, Guangdong Province, China. In 2005, there was a patent for genetic engineering protein of coronavirus. So genetic. 2012 to 2017. Lab working with Wuhan Technology College. Maybe I shouldn't have done that yet. Okay, so let's go to South Africa in 2014. There was an oil exploration in South Africa. And for some reason, every time there's always oil explorations, fights break out. Wait, so that's normal? Most time. And Ebola broke out there. So yeah, in 2012, there was a 1,000 Talents program, or what am I saying? At the Wuhan Technology College. Back to that later, I guess. Whatever. So yeah, in 2014, they had the oil thing, the oil drilling, and there were battles breaking out. we're gonna start something. We're gonna start even before that, darn it. Okay, in July 18th, 2014, the Malaysia disappeared. I remember going on Tom Nod or Tom Tom or whatever it was called. I think it was Tom Nod or whatever, and looking for all over for that plane. And then I was watching. It was either Russia Today or Sputnik or whatever. And on the news, they said that they had found that plane, that the Russians did, and they called people to have them come retrieve it. They showed pictures of it and bodies all over the plane and stuff. But it was either on Sputnik or it was on RT back then. But that plane, what disappeared, had over 100 HIV experts and advocates because there was like on some breakthrough. So all those people were flying to some conference deal for this breakthrough. So yeah, Russia supposedly found that plane. And there's actually pictures. But I was watching something where they found it. And that's the sentiment I was looking for. They're like, well, I don't go look for it no more. And it appears that they must have stole the AIDS what information. The and they sent 3,000 troops, not doctors, to Africa in August. Now, also in August, people got put into the quarantine encampment. And they supposedly went there. No, someone's family member supposedly went there to break, get someone out of the quarantine zone. If they couldn't do it nicely, they were gonna break them out. So they went there. They said a gunfight broke out. Didn't say exactly what happened. I looked it up later, and there was something about in West Point where there was a battle or where there's a fight, and there's a gun battle. And I looked up later and found out where there was supposed to be some sort of fight, or where they act like it was some big thing or whatever. But when I looked it up, there's a thing at West Point, encampment or whatever, the quarantine zone. And a 15-year-old kid had threw a rock or something, and they shot and killed him. And then everyone was mad at him, right? Well, they threw money in the air, $1 billion in the air. And it got the attention of all these people to go after the money instead of going after them. I believe they also stole the blood samples of the patients. around that time. This person was probably a French Ranger. Later, they had crates sent back on a train from South Africa to go to Belgium. I don't think I looked up all the stuff about well, okay, and then there was a UN helicopter that was shot down. Now that says something a lot different than what's going around for something else. I don't know if that's a hint, but it said something different than stuff I heard. But yeah, so supposedly Russia got hold of that AIDS stuff because it was most people on it were people that came through, or were supposed to be on some breakthrough for AIDS. I forget. Earlier than that, someone got an archaeological site. I think it was in Iraq or something. They got what was it, black fly fevers from black fly fever, black fly disease or whatever. It's from sand flies. They had gotten some sort of disease back from in Iraq. I don't know what that was. Look at my thing, see where I am. In 2015, there was a field trip to iceberg in Tibet, and they drilled this iceberg. And found 28 new species of viruses. Now, whenever you notice, I don't know if COVID had anything to do with that, but whenever COVID came out, the news was always saying tip of the iceberg, tip of the iceberg, tip of the iceberg, tip of the iceberg, like with some sort of code word. Like all the stations were saying it. It's like, why are they all saying tip of the iceberg? To me, it seemed like it was some sort of code word. That was 2015. 2016, IMF wanted to do a monetary reset. They reset the SDR basket, which is a special drawing rights. And at the time, they wanted to change the money. They wanted to change it from like they wanted most people the BRICS. They wanted the BRICS nation to be one thing, and they wanted like most people on over there to be on one. They wanted U.S., Canada, and Mexico to be on another, which didn't seem right to me because it was supposed to be a global. It was supposed to be a global thing, but splitting up the money didn't sound right. Maybe there's something good about it, but it was supposed to be for global. It was supposed to be good, and some of that Keystone pipeline too. There's a lot of money spent on it, and they stopped working on it for a while because they found something dangerous. There. But they said back in, I think it was 2014 or something, yeah, and everyone was complaining about Obama talking to Putin back in those days. And they were talking about capitalism and stuff like that. And saying the presidents don't control what we do, the G20 does. But they were planning from 2014 that something was going to happen in 2021 is what they had planned. Where the money was going to be, I think, like $1 trillion or something, injected into the system. But what they said is most of the crises and stuff are to get the suckers to go into the crisis of these, to fall for the crisis. What's going on? Back then the Republicans were mad that the Democrats were talking to Russia, and Russia was the top dog. And was it G8? Was it the G8 or G7? They were the top dog, and they got kicked out that year. But it would have been after they basically got what they wanted done. And the election thing, I think the election thing, the same people that are in this thing, most of them don't even live in America. They have things here, but they invest in the debates, sponsor the debates and stuff like that. You gotta remember, a lot of their workplaces and stuff, they own a lot of the companies in America, also invest in that stuff. Nowadays, they might have changed what they want to do with the money. I haven't really looked at it. I think that maybe they want to put in the bricks on it. I haven't really looked at it. It sounds like there might be something different. But the SDRs is something that the people don't usually see. The countries know about, but people don't usually see it. Let me go back to the. I think I'll go back to the start of my thing here, because I was researching whenever COVID came out. I was researching it ever since, and I don't know if anything had to do with North Korea. There was something that happened with North Korea where when Trump was in there, I think one of the guys was caught with some virus thing, like the president there was caught with something. Anyways, so this is what I wrote whenever it was first starting. Trying to identify where the coronavirus got here. Effects, sometimes looking at other illnesses. It originally said they believed it started near a fish market in Wuhan. So I thought it may have came from the water, fish or shellfish. in the Washington area. Most had seemed to be around the Puget Sound. The early days and rivers, lakes, creeks, or streams that may have run near some of the places looked up many of them, and they are known for contamination. Other than that, didn't know if could had come from winter runoff or melting of ice or drilling glaciers. Another odd circumstance is that it says 3 people were arrested in Boston for illegal activity that more or less may had to do with biology or biohazards. They said they don't know of it being genetically engineered in the US, but at least one coronavirus strain appears to have a patent on it. True. So, um, how I found the patent is I went in to Google Scholar and I was looking up about the stuff. I found the patent on it and saying it was genetically engineered. Now, the whole time, whenever that stuff was going on, they were saying it wasn't genetically engineered. People made it seem like it wasn't from water, that it was from animals, which it could have been, but that's what they were telling you. There were some things that kind of talk about it. But the guy that invented it also invented patents with that were from prawns or shellfish, epithelial or whatever. So I was concerned about stuff like prawns and shellfish because those were. What do you want? I'm busy here. I checked the mail. Hello, Joji. Nice to see you. Hello, Eric. Okay, anyways, where was I? What was I doing? So, where was I? Fish market in Wuhan. So it may have came from waterfish, shellfish in the Washington area. Most had seemed to be around the Puget Sound. Oh, that should be different statements. Shellfish. That was a guy from China what was doing this shellfish patents around the Puget Sound early days in lakes and creeks or streams that may have run near some of the places. Looked up many of them, and they are known for contaminants. Other than that, didn't know if could have came from winter runoff or melting of ice or drilling glaciers. Another odd circumstance is that it says 3 people were arrested in Boston for illegal activity that more or less may have to do with biology, biohazards. They said they don't know of it being genetic engineered in the US, but at least one coronavirus strain appears to have patent on it. If it's true, there is no real conclusion. It's still being researched. This is what I wrote back then. It could be in the water or something smuggling it or animal, which what they believe. I have looked at least one PDF presentation with water workers about coronavirus, mentioning wet and anteaters. The author that talked about the patent for coronavirus also authored patents about prawns. So I don't know if prawns may as well be involved. There are several coronavirus strains. I guess seems most do affect the upper respiratory system and sounds like it amino acids. My first concern was testing the water and the sea life when I read the PDF for water treatment. People it said it was unknown if it can be waterborne. I have not read anything yet saying water's been tested, or for that matter, even water in the life care facility when I went down to life care. So at first, a guy in SeaTac got sick, and then he was put in the hospital in Snohomish. I believe he died. Maybe I think he died though. But he was one of the first cases in the U.S. Now it can spread through human contact, right? But like the life care facility and stuff, there were also waterways what could go down from usually what was about polluted things that could go down around those areas where it got where people got infected and dying. Now, these people didn't want old people just living forever and without working. They used to want to get rid of the older people. As for bioterror, it's odd that those guys were caught in Boston and then Biogen got sick. Not sure what the connection would be, but maybe a popular scientist could have visited a lab. Maybe even the person that got caught trying to steal vials could have swapped vials with something else that was safer, or didn't feel they needed to worry about taking it to a hotel and opening it. That wouldn't have been the start of the spread, but somehow the Biogen conference may have been in contact with a real sample. Some of the links also linked to coronavirus, saying it may have come from palm kivets and dogs. Seems to me that they have been messing around with different strains for a long time, and sounds like coronavirus attacks epithelial tissues. I think epithelial has stuff to do with like the prawns and stuff like that. Also, is what I'm thinking. I forgot something. The War on Terror, Agenda 21. It mentions upper respiratory symptoms. I think there's something about that at one time where they're talking about. I can't find it now, but I think there was something where they were talking about like institutionalizing people if they had upper respiratory symptoms or whatever. So in 1998, there was that Corona Particle Assembly. And so it's a protein membrane. I'm just supposed to talk. In 2002, an epidemic of severe acute respiratory syndrome (SARS) began in Foshan municipality, Guangdong Province, China, November 2002. 2005, Xi Jinping was a person that patented the genetic engineering of the coronavirus, SARS, COVID-19. Or SARS COVID spike. So, I guess I'll get to that later. In 2014, Canadian tar sands industry canceled major projects like Shell and Pierre River. Delays due to high costs and low market prices. With toxic tailing ponds. So the tailing ponds were toxic. They spent a lot of money on that too. To quit that. I don't know if they went back on it later. But they got out of that. Keystone XL pipeline. And you had Malaysia with over 100 HIV experts, or possibly over 100 HIV experts were on that, and Russia found it. They say that Russia downed it. And then they did that other stuff I said about, like the oil drilling in South Africa, the Ebola breaking out, then people being caught in a quarantine zone, and someone went to break them out of the quarantine zone. Instead of gunfight broke out, the only thing I read was a gun where they shot a 15-year-old boy and they threw money in the air, which would fit the IMF mentality, the banker mentality, to have this stuff, to throw it in the air, to get people's attention, to get them to where they don't want to hurt the people. So it takes, because they throw money in the air, it takes the attention off the people, and then they're fighting over the money. 2014. Thousands of Ebola blood samples taken from patients during 2014 epidemic in West Africa and now held in secretive laboratories around the world. And those were worth lots of money. Some ended up in the UK. Some France, I think. Yeah, France and the United States. And the cargo helicopter crash. I mean, UN cargo helicopter crash, right? Yeah. And a train sent to Belgium. September 21st, 2014, CDC warns to prepare for the Ebola epidemic. I think that's in the U.S. there. It says that the Pentagon may not have really been concerned about finding a vaccine for the Ebola. Like they sent troops there instead of doctors when they were supposed to go and help them. Canadian U.S. researchers had developed an Ebola vaccine that was 100% successful in monkeys. But yeah, whenever this first came out and stuff, I was seeing most of the stuff. It seemed like you could have went there through waterways, but that wouldn't have been just through people being contacted was through the water. But I thought I always thought like because of water, because most like there was the cruise ships or the ships and stuff, but we're all weeds coming down with Corona, and that guy that invented it was looking at prawns. 2015, they drilled that iceberg in Tibet with 28 different new species of viruses. The Soviet Biological Warfare Program, 2016. And some of that was before. So, December 30th, 2019. The guy I was talking about earlier. China's Thousand Talents Program. Top scientists to help make significant leaps of technology and innovation. The U.S. government has warned that recruitment program effort by China to steal American proprietary and information. I think he was from. Maybe he was from Boston. I thought he was from Harvard or something. I gotta find where it says it. But anyways, it seemed like he went over there, went to China University, and met in Wuhan, China Technology, University of Technology. But he kept the secret from Harvard that he went over there and did that. Now, a lot of these people, I don't know if that people have it, but if you got diplomatic immunity, you don't get searched or nothing, so you can just go. They can't detain you, they can't do anything because you got diplomatic immunity. So you can just basically do whatever you want to do. Like when it comes to like traveling and stuff. If you don't live in the U.S. I'm supposed to say this off my own accord, I think is what I think I'm supposed to do. But yeah, I looked everything up, and some things I kind of know inside information on, somewhat. On December 31st, 2019, China announced the small outbreak of a new coronavirus in the city of Wuhan. Then, January 15th, 2020, SeaTac Airport, one of the first cases in the Seattle area, or the Washington area, by January 19th, 2020, a 35-year-old man to an urgent care clinic in Snohomish County, Washington, with a 4-day history of cough, checking into the clinic. The patient put on a mask in the waiting room. After waiting approximately 20 minutes, he was taken for an examination room. Underwent evaluation provider he disclosed had returned to Washington State January 15th to visit the Wuhan, China thing. So it could have been really spread aerial, but I'm still wondering about the water because the prawns and everything. Oh, what? October 30th, 2020, Boston University student faces 1 count of each visa fraud making false statements. Conspiracy on her visa. She probably didn't have a diplomatic immunity. That's Biogen Cambridge. Biogen. In 2020. February 24th and 27th, 2020. 15 cases of coronavirus tied to February Biogen company meeting. March 5th, more than a week after the event. A number had flu-like symptoms. "77 cases were linked to Biogen." And we got it in the pro shop in Yakima. And then I got stuff like on places that got shut down where they got it. Where I live, what happened? Supposedly there was a patent on this from the old strain, and supposedly there was a new one for a U.S. patent from that same one from the old one, but it got taken off. It said that it was terminated or expired or whatever, and I can't find it no more. And now what the patent shows is from a shampoo dispenser instead of, so it appears that they were appears they patented it as one thing and took the patent off and patented something else with that old patent. Now there's a new strain out now, and it's supposed to go through where's my thing? Where's my title? New COVID-19 variant BA.32 or 3.2. So there's a new strain out now. It's supposed to be like a war crime against humanity. And what this thing says is, it says that it's something that Trump did. And it's supposed to be all these things put together, like the HIV, the Ebola, the AIDS, Corona put together. And I think it's been out since what was it, 2022 or 2024 in some other countries. But yeah, they said in 2021 we were going to have something happen where money was injected. There's going to be a lot of things happen. So, they said that clear back when I was talking to them in 2014 that something was going to happen in 2021 and all that stuff was going to be invested. It seems like it happened sooner. Innocent people and trillions of USD worth of equity and natural resources with more to come. So, okay, anyways, this new thing I was looking at. It talks about the new one being spread through your wastewater. So, like, if you're on sewage lines and stuff like that, it's like they seem to be putting one in our house, I don't know, or in by our house, which I don't like after hearing that. It's supposed to go through the wastewater system. So, I don't know if they dropped something in the sewers or if they went to the sewage plant, put something in the sewage plant. But it talks about this ResearchGate, I believe, ResearchGate.net. It talks about the new strain coming from that. It talks about Gates. It talks about WHO. It talks about I think the United Nations all being in on this. Trump. It mentions something about the military taking people off of not letting them smoke vapes I don't know if that means there's corona in the vapes, or I don't know what's in the corona article. It talks about when this corona strain is supposed to get rid of certain genetics, like family lines. Like black race. I'm not trying to be be racist, but that's what it says. And it says that they wanted to get people off of Social Security. Now, most things you hear on Social Security, it says like we don't want the immigrants coming over here and getting the Social Security and living off of it. But then it says that in Central America they get Social Security. So they're saying the opposite thing. Because Central America, I would think, was actually in America, at the end of Central America, like near Iowa or something. But Central America actually means down there, like by Mexico or whatever is down there. But it sounds like they already give them Social Security. So we're acting like we don't want them to come here and live off for our benefits and stuff like that. But then it sounds like we're already giving it. So watch your wastewater, watch your contaminated water sources. I don't know what you're gonna do. Put a filter over your toilet or something. I don't know. Like here, all of a sudden they say this, and now they were supposed to put sewer lines around here a long time ago, but lately they haven't been putting them in unless people ask for them. But after this happened, we got these lines on the road, these arrows on our road, down our driveway, for where the sewer is supposed to go. As far as I know, we didn't ask for it unless my parents are stupid. They might have. But the house across the street, this house, I think they got all these things to put a sewer line in. Now our vicinity, or our county, they've been trying to get people to get off well water, put them onto a sewage. Now some of it, like the neighbors probably need it because they got a big house or whatever, and some of it's dried up or whatever. But you get everyone on that. You get everyone on that sewage water or on that treatment water and stuff. Hell, our sewage plants wants us to they want to filter the flipping shit water, make you drink it. They say it's safer than whatever. Years ago, they put fluoride in it. I thought it was better back then because it was supposed to be good for your teeth, but then that was supposed to be bad. Also, when I looked at the things back then, a lot of them went past filtration, what's supposed to be water filtration systems from the Puget Sound area. So it seemed like stuff could have came from there. But yeah, it says Gates and WHO, there's NAFTA, or United Nations, are all supposed to be in on this stuff. I read more than I was supposed to. But I was just trying to get a support, but yeah, I don't know what we got to do about it. To me, I'd rather not have the sewage water, especially if they're doing that kind of shit. I mean, if that river floods or whatever, more likely, maybe that stuff will come up through your sewer. If it dries out and everyone's on that, then no one's gonna have water. There's a lot of things people do Well, we forget about the old times. If we need to go back to them, of course, and pH is a little different for most people. A lot of them still live the old ways. But like us, we took all the chimneys and stoves out of all our houses. Well, we had one out in the other house. But everyone takes the chimneys and stoves out of their houses. That didn't rely on electricity. You can have your generators or whatever, but they only power so much, usually your food. It's not good to have that stuff as a backup. We took most of that shit out of our houses. Made room where they used to be, It's probably wise to keep that stuff because that's something you could use natural resources instead of electricity to use. The natives also, I know some natives around a lot of their sites, what do you call it? Traditional sites. We either built dams over them, which could be good, or we there's mines near their traditional sites, and they keep trying to mine their traditional sites. But sometimes these mines block off their traditional sites. Like I think there used to be an old. That's not about viruses, but there used to be. Maybe I shouldn't even talk about it. I don't know, but there used to be an old. There used to be army bases like pit houses and stuff. And about where these army bases, there's a rock quarry. It didn't look like a crane or something was stuck in one, where it fell through or something. But yeah, a lot of my nuts have mines around the area. So June of 21 was around the time the Iraq War came. I think I remember Iran on the news threatening us, and we went to war against Iraq. We provided Iran a bunch of weapons. We also had the Afghanistan poppy fields and stuff. Okay. They had that almost eradicated. And then we went back to war against them. We started protecting the poppy fields. And an outbreak of heroin and stuff like that came here. And it seemed like doctors and stuff were trying to prescribe everyone heroin or morphine and stuff like that. Oxycodone. And it seemed like they made it where it was easier to get on the streets and stuff. First they get needle sites. I understand the needle sites, kind of. And better to view that than nothing. But then you hear that they started giving people the drug too. To help them train their whatever. Now we got the fentanyl and everything else. Anyways, I'm done. Hopefully that's what I needed to do. And I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I haven't looked at a lot to see who's come in. But yeah, I'm done. Thank you. Love y'all. Thank you, gracias. Thank you, salamat. Come on. I forget the other thing. Alright, later.